Everybody, today we will start health and hygienic. In this chapter, you will learn appreciate different dimensions of health and role of proper nutrition, physical exercise, healthy habits in maintaining health, and explain the different positive and negative influences on health. Emphasize the importance of hygiene, personal and community health, and recognize their interrelationship. Express awareness about the national immunization program and how it prevents certain communicable diseases. So let us understand basically what do you mean by health. Health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well being, not merely the absence of diseases. That is stated by the World Health Organization, that is WHO. What is WHO? World Health Organization. So it is basically meant for maintaining the health all over the world. That is the main criteria of the WHO. So, what is health? It is a state of complete physical, mental, and social being. It is not only merely absence of diseases. It states both physical, mental, and social fitness of a human being is called as a healthy person. We can say he's a healthy person. So, let us see some of the signs of good physical health. So, let us understand what do you mean by a good physical health. We have certain signs like shall be energetic and alert. So the person should be energetic and alert. He should be always alert, and then we can say he is physically fit. Have weight which is normal for your age and height. So you should have a age according to your age. You should have a weight and height. Thirdly, have bright and shining eyes. So your eyes should always be bright and shining. Then only you are said to be a physically healthy person. Have all the body organs functioning normally and fall sick less often. Yes, very important. This concept is very important. So if we are healthy, we should have all the organs functioning normally. At the same time, you should fall sick less often. It's not the being you should not fall sick at all, right? Falling sick is one of a good sign, but you should not fall sick oftenly. Less often you should fall sick. Have clear and clean skin. You should always have keep a clear and a clean skin. Have normal growing hair of natural color and texture. Yes, this is very important. You should have a normal growing hair which you should have a natural color and texture. Have odorless breath. Whenever you breathe, it should be a odorless. Odorless in the sense you should not smell bad, right? So it should be a odorless breath. Have a good appetite. So what do you mean by appetite? That is a eager to eat. You should have a good appetite. You should always feel hunger. Some people won't feel hunger at all, right? So you should have a good appetite, neither too less nor too much. So that is a good appetite. Lastly, you should get a good sleep. Yes, sleep is one of the most important activity where we get recharged, right? So you should have a good sound sleep. So these are some of the signs we can say of a good physical fitness of a person. Let us see some of the signs for a good mental health, right? So we have seen about physical health. Let us see what are the signs of a good mental health. So the person should have control over your emotions, right? Most important, it may be a happiness, it may be a sadness. The emotion should be under your control. So then only we can say he is mentally healthy. You should not be too much happy or too much sad. You should control your emotions. Balanced feelings, desires, ambitions, and ideas. So you should have a balanced feelings. This all should be under your control. You should have balanced feelings, desires in the sense you can say any of your dreams, ambitions, and ideas. You should have the ability to accept the realities of life and face them, right? So whenever in life we will get so many ups and downs. So a good mental healthy person should always have an ability to accept the realities of the life and at the same time to face them. How to face them? It may be a failure or it may be any sudden change in the life. So these all realities the person should be able to face them. Then should have a confidence in yourself. So very important, a person with a good mental health should always have a confidence in himself, that is self confidence, that I can do something. So that he should have a self confidence in himself and ability to cope with the normal stress of life. So in while working, it may be a working place or it may be in a student life or it may be in a business life, anything. If you have stress, there will always be stress in life. So the person should have an ability to cope with the normal stresses of the life. Then he should be sensitivity towards the needs of others. So whenever we hear some needs of others, you should be sensible towards them. So you should not neglect all the needs of others, right? You should be sensitivity towards the needs of others. The ability to give and seek help when needed. So helping nature. You should have a helping nature. You should give as well as seek. At the same time, you can take help from others, as at the same time, you should help some others whenever there's a need. The ability to cope with the conflict and disagreement. Yeah, this kind of situations will be very common in life. Like there will be some conflict, or you may some people will disagree with your agreements, right? So the you should have ability, the person should have an ability to cope with the conflicts and at the same time with the disagreements of the other people. Yeah, so these are some of the important signs we can say of a good mental health of a person. So let us move upon what are the some of the signs for a good social health of a person. Yeah, the first and foremost should have a positive attitude towards life. Very important. You should have a positive attitude. You should be an optimistic person, right? You should be a optimistic person. You should always think positively in almost all the situations. That is, go for a possibility of a situation. Do not say no for anything. Try to do something, right? So that is, you should have a positive attitude towards a life. Being a social being, we should have a positive attitude. Secondly, should get along well with others. So most of the people will be lone. They do not mingle with the people. So that is not a good sign of a social health. So you should have a habit or a hobby to mingle with others. You should get along well with the others. So that is one of the important sign of a good social health. Have a pleasant personality. So, whenever you talk to someone, the person should feel pleasant. So, you should have a pleasant personality. So, you should not move with a crown face, right? You should always please the others. So, this is a very important sign or a concept we can say of a well social being. Should have a pleasant personality that others should feel like talking to you. So, you should have a pleasant personality. Fulfill the responsibilities or the duties towards the others. So being a social being, very important, you should fulfill the responsibility or the duties which is meant towards the others, not only our responsibilities, but at the same time we should fulfill the others responsibilities and the duties. Have healthy interpersonal relationship. Yeah, what do you mean by interpersonal? That is relationship with your neighbors. So this is a interpersonal relationship. If it is a intrapersonal, it is within your family. You should have a good as well as a healthy interpersonal relationship with your neighbors as well as a other colleagues. And should be able to express disagreement positively. Yes, this is again a same point. You should always be able to express disagreement, but in a positive way. If you don't feel like doing something, express it in a positive way. Do not take it negatively. So express your feelings or disagreements in a positive attitude. Yes. So till now we learned what do you mean by health, right? It is not only just a free from the diseases. It is a mental, social, as well as a physical fitness of a person, and we also saw some of the signs of a good social, physical, as well as a mental health. Let us move upon learn about hygiene. What do you mean by hygiene? Very important concept. Hygiene is the help in maintaining health constitute the hygiene. Yes, it is a mere a help. We can say what is hygiene? It is a help. In a what way? What is the purpose of this help? To maintain a health. Maintaining the health constitutes the hygiene. It is just you are helping someone to maintain their health. If you maintain the hygiene, you have your good health. So we can say hygiene is a help in maintaining the good health. In another way, we can say the word hygiene has come from a Greek word. Actually, it has come from a Greek word hygia. That means goddesses of health. So we say hygiene is a goddesses of a health. So if you maintain the hygiene, you will have a good health. Hygiene deals with the both personal health as well as a community health. So the maintaining the hygienic is not only personal, but at the same time it also helps in maintaining the community health. So let us understand what do you mean by community. In further slides, we will understand both the community as well as the personal health. Yes, let us understand how it is a personal hygiene. What do you mean by personal hygiene? How can we maintain it? Like, first and foremost, a regular toilet habit. Yes, you can maintain a personal hygiene by a regular toilet habit. Like, regular bowel movements keeps us free of waste generated within our body. So what do you mean by bowel movement? That is nothing but that is expelling out of your waste from your body. The process is called as a excretion, right? The process is called as a excretion. Why do we follow this? Because just to put out the waste which has been generated in our body. So regular toilet habit is one of the most important point to maintain a personal hygiene. Secondly, washing hands before eating. Yes, our hands may carry many diseases causing germs, and we must wash them with soap or ash before taking food. Yes, our hands are the main basic carriers of the germs, we can say, since we do so many activities in our daily life. It may be cooking, it may be washing, right? Or it may be bathing. So many activities we do with our hands. Without hands, which is difficult to carry out all the activities, so it will carry many germs. You can say pathogens. What are disease causing germs? We can say pathogens which causes the diseases. So before taking food, we should always have a habit of washing hands properly with the soap or ash before taking the food. Bathing regularly and wearing clean clothes. Yes, this is very important concept we have learned, right? Bathing regularly keeps us body free of dirt, body lice, and germs. Yes, since our body will sweat every day, we all know, right? Because of doing so many activities, our body sweats. And this sweat is nothing but a waste which is put out from our body. It is a metabolic waste which is put out from our body. So it is very important to bath regularly to keep our body free from dirt and some of the body lice and the germs. Cleaning teeth. Yes, cleaning the teeth. Brushing teeth every morning after dinner. Yes. What happens if we don't brush our teeth? So our mouth will become a house for many germs since we eat so many things every day. As a result, there will be a tooth decay. This is one of a disease again, and we say we are not healthy. So to be a healthy person, we should keep our teeth clean by brushing them early morning, not only once, early morning and after dinner. That is, twice a day we should brush our teeth. Washing hair, cleaning eyes, ears, and nails. Regularly washing and combing of hair and washing eyes with clean water helps to keep germs away. Nails of both hands should be clipped regularly, and nail biting is one of a unhygienic habit. Yes, we should always keep our hairs clean. We should always keep our eyes clean by washing them with the clean water. Very important. We should always wash our eyes with the very clean water to keep the germs away. And nails of both the hands should be clipped. There are many chances of dirt sitting inside our nails, so we should always keep our nails should be clipped regularly. We should not have a habit of nail biting. It is one of the unhygienic activity, so nail biting should not be followed. Clean food and water. Yeah, you should always clean the food and the water. Consumed fruits and vegetables should be washed thoroughly in clean water to make them free from germs. So whatever the fruits or vegetables we eat, right, we should always wash them thoroughly in water to make them free from the germs and also from the dirt. So these were some of the personal hygienic we have learned. So let us move for the domestic hygiene. What are the some of the concepts or the points we can follow for a domestic hygiene? We dust and mop our houses to keep them clean and free from dirt, flies, and germs, and disposal of a garbage in the allotted bins. Yeah. So domestic hygiene is nothing but the place we live, right? So it should always be kept clean. How? By mopping our houses regularly, cleaning them very regularly to keep them free from dirt, flies, and germs, and at the same time, the disposable of the garbage, that is, you can say the waste. It may be a wet waste or it may be a dry waste, right? It should be disposed in a allotted bins. All utensils that are used at home should be kept clean. Very important concept, right? We should always keep the utensils clean which we use in our home. So this is one of the important concept for a domestic hygiene. Cooking with care. Food should be prepared in a clean kitchen. Yeah, this is very important. Whenever we cook, it should be prepared in a clean kitchen. Most important concept, the kitchen has to be clean whenever we prepare the food. While cooking food, it is important to heat it to a high temperature to kill the germs. So due to hurry, right? Due to a stressed life, we should not have a uncooked food. We should always see that the food should be cooked properly to a certain high temperature to kill the germs. So while cooking food, it is very important to heat it at a very high temperature to kill the germs. Cooked food should be eaten fresh or covered and stored in a clean and a cool place. Yeah, after cooking, You should see that you should eat always a fresh food immediately after cooking. If not possible, cover it and store it in a clean and cool place. Next important concept that is exercise. We should do exercise regularly, like regular walking, yoga, physical exercise, outdoor games, right? Keep the heart and circulatory system in a good condition. Walking keeps the joints healthy. Yeah, the most important the good exercise for all the age people is a walking, regular walking and yoga, right? So we should always do regular walking, yoga, at the same time some physical exercises and outdoor games, which gives a good mental as well as the physical health. So these exercises will keep the basically heart and circulatory system in a good condition. So walking also keeps the joints healthy. So these are some of the exercises we can follow to keep ourselves hygienic as well as healthy. Regular sleep and relaxation. So next important concept that is a regular sleep and relaxation is very much necessary for a good health. Next we have that is abstaining from habit forming substances. Most important concept, right? Abstaining from the habit forming substances such as smoking, chewing of betel nut, gutka, tobacco, and drinking alcohol, right? So these some of these people may go for these habits because of a mere happiness, for a short time happiness, but it will cause a huge injury to the health, right? So always try to abstain yourself from a habit forming substances like smoking, right? Smoking or chewing of betel nut or gutka it may be, or tobacco, or drinking alcohol. So these cause a very huge health damage, which ultimately may lead to the death of a person if the habit goes in a long duration. So we should be always away from these habit forming substances. Yeah, these were some of the we saw that is domestic hygiene. Let us go for what do you mean by community health. Let us understand about a community health and community hygiene. Community health is the practice of preventing disease. It is the practice of preventing disease and promoting health of a population through the organized efforts of society, public and private organization, right? So it is basically a preventing of diseases and at the same time promotion of a health of a certain population. So what do you mean by community? A group of people or a group of population of a certain area forms a community. So the preventing disease and promotion of their health, how? Through a organized efforts of society, public and private organization forms a community health. How can we do this? So let us go through them. Like, first and foremost, maintain cleanness. You should always maintain cleanness of villages, towns, cities, and localities through proper garbage disposal. Right? So there will be most of the time conflicts within the houses, within the apartments. This is not our garbage, this garbage. So you should always maintain cleanness of villages, towns, not only your houses, the whole villages, towns, cities, and localities through a proper garbage disposal for a community health. Secondly, ensure that prescribed standards in food stores, meat and milk outlets are strictly followed. Yeah, you should always ensure, be sure with that the store person will follow a prescribed standards of food and meat and milk outlets. It should be followed very strictly. Thirdly, organize health promotion and disease prevention. Yeah, you should always organize the health promotion and disease prevention. How? That is by What? Secondly, various awareness programs have been undertaken against the spread of diseases of national concerns like malaria, AIDS, polio, leprosy, tuberculosis, and hepatitis B. So, these are the two important points you can say which are being followed to prevent the diseases and promote the health, like immunization programs for the children and infants, and some of the awareness programs has been undertaken to prevent the spread of diseases like most important diseases like malaria, AIDS. What is AIDS? Acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. The deadly disease AIDS, polio, leprosy, tuberculosis, and hepatitis B. So these two are followed to organize health promotion and prevention of the diseases. Next, we have organize midday meals. So, organize the midday meals in schools to provide adequate nourishment to growing children. So, you can say very important point for a community health. So, organize the midday meals to the schools for providing adequate nourishment for the growing children. Set up hospitals and dispensaries to provide medical facility to general public either free of cost or at highly subsidized rates. So go for a setting up of a hospitals and dispensaries to provide medical facilities. There are so many poor families who cannot afford for the medical expenses. So go for setting up hospitals and dispensaries to provide the medical facilities. It may be a free of cost or it will be of a highly subsidized rates. So these are some of the points or concepts we can say to be followed to maintain a community health. So let us understand one of the important scheme, that is a Bhagidari scheme, which is again followed to maintain a community health by the government, right? So what is this Bhagidari scheme? It is a government's responsibility, right? It is a government's responsibility to provide civic amenities. So this scheme was being followed by the government to provide a civic amenities. Means what? Like water, electricity, roads, and garbage disposable facilities to every individual of a citizen, right? So this scheme was being followed by a government to provide a basic civic amenities to every individual of a country. Government departments and citizen groups like resident welfare associations, that is, we can say ROS, RWAS, and market and trader associations, MTAs, in order to work out solutions to common civic problems. So you can say ROS and MTAs, these two are the government departments which are being grouped together to provide the solutions for the most common civic problems of a community. A condition that interferes with the normal functioning of a body is called as a disease. So till now we learned about a health and hygiene, right? And also we understood some of the concepts for community health. Let us understand what is disease, right? What is disease? A condition that interferes with normal functioning of a body is called a disease. So body is not functioning normally because some condition is interfering with it, and that particular condition is a disease. So it can be a mild as a cold or sore throat or a serious as a cancer or a tuberculosis, right? It may be a simple or it may be a very serious. Simple like cold or a sore throat, or very serious like a cancer or a tuberculosis. So both we say it is a disease. Diseases are of two types. Whenever we call disease, there are two types like congenital diseases, right? What do you mean by congenital? That has presence since birth. Yeah, which some diseases are from birth. So if it is present since birth, we call it as a congenital disease. Secondly, we have acquired disease. What is acquired disease? It is developed after birth. So disease which is developed after birth. In acquired disease, again we have two types, like communicable and non-communicable, right? What is communicable disease? That is, we will study in detail about it in the next part. So let us see some examples for a communicable disease, like common cold and malaria. These two are the best example for a communicable disease. What is communicable? It transfers from one person to the another person very easily. That is called communicable. Like example, common cold and malaria. Non-communicable, it will not transfer from one person to the another person. Example, hypertension, diabetes, or obesity. So these are the non-communicable diseases. Let us move for a question answers part. We'll discuss few question answers. Which from the following disease usually spreads through the milk? Is it tuberculosis or jaundice, diphtheria or cholera? Right? Which of these will spread through the milk? Tuberculosis, jaundice, diphtheria or cholera? Okay. From Chandrika we got jaundice. Okay, we'll see the answer. So it is a first one, that is a tuberculosis. There are two forms of tuberculosis that cause significant disease in mammals. That is human tuberculosis, sometimes acute, but much more commonly a chronic lung infection is caused by the bacterium, that is Mycobacterium tuberculosis. So this Mycobacterium tuberculosis will spread through the milk, right? If you drink a milk of a person which is caused by tuberculosis, it will easily infect the other person. So by the bacteria called as a Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Which of the following is not a mosquito borne disease? Is it a dengue fever, or it is a filariasis, or sleeping sickness, or malaria? So very important. See the question properly. Which of the following is not a mosquito borne disease? Dengue fever, filariasis, sleeping sickness, or malaria? We know dengue fever, filariasis, sleeping sickness, malaria. Okay, very good. From Sri Raksha, we got the sleeping sickness. Tulasi, yeah, option 3. Hafsha, option 3. Chandrika, fine. 3. All are going with a third option. Okay. We will see exactly, that is option 3, sleeping sickness. Sleeping sickness is infection with the germs carried by certain flies. It is actually infection by the germs which are being carried by the flies. It results in swelling of brain. What is sleeping sickness? It is a swelling of brain. Sleeping sickness is caused by the two germs. What are those? That is Trypanosoma brucei, that is rhodanisin, and Trypanosoma brucei gambicin. So these are the two germs which cause basically the sleeping sickness. The more severe form of the illness is caused by Trypanosoma rhodensi and testis flies, which carry the infection. Which of these is a communicable disease? Yeah, we learned about communicable disease, right? So which of these is a communicable disease, which transfers from one person to the another person? Is it is a diabetes or diphtheria, arthritis or cancer? Any answers? Diabetes, diphtheria, arthritis, cancer. It means that the other three are non-communicable. Yeah, from Chandrika we got diphtheria. Yes, option two. Yes, Tulasi two. Yeah, Hafsa two. Sri Raksha, diphtheria. Yeah, we have an idea of other diseases. If others are non-communicable, obviously the left one will be the communicable. Sometimes we have to think in that way also. Yes. So let us see the answer. It is option 2, diphtheria. Exactly. So what is diphtheria? Diphtheria is an upper respiratory tract illness. It is basically meant for breathness, right? Upper respiratory tract illness caused by Crinobacterium diphtheria. It is caused by an microorganism, Crinobacterium diphtheria, a facultative anaerobic gram-positive bacterium. It is basically a gram-positive bacterium. Diphtheria is a contagious disease. Contagious in the sense which spreads from one person to the another person. Spread by directly physical contact. How does it spread? By a physical contact or breathing the aerosolized secretions of a infected individuals. It will transfer by the breath as well as by the physical contact of a infected person. Which of the following diseases usually spread through air? Yeah, which of these diseases spread through air? Is it plague or typhoid? Is it by tuberculosis or it is by cholera? Plague. From Chandrika we got plague. Okay, fine. Tulsi, first option. Okay, fine. We will see the answer. It is tuberculosis. Airborne diseases refers to any disease which are caused by pathogens and transmitted through the air, right? So tuberculosis is one of a airborne disease. It doesn't mean that by the other media it doesn't transfer. It is a airborne disease also. Which one? That is a tuberculosis. It is transmitted through the air. How it is, that is by the viruses. These viruses and bacteria can spread through the coughing. Either it may be by the coughing, sneezing, laughing, or through a close personal contact. So it is one of a most contagious disease, that is a tuberculosis, which will spread even through the air also. Which of the following diseases spread through the contaminated food? So which is spread by the contaminated food? Malaria or tetanus? Is it typhoid or mumps? From Sri Raksha we got tetanus. Okay. First and foremost, it should be a communicable. Then we should see how it will spread. So out of this, which are communicable, and then you think how it is spread. Is it by air or contaminated food? You should think in that way. Malaria, tetanus, typhoid, mumps. From the Chandrika, I got fourth option, mumps. Okay. Okay, from Hafsa, we got typhoid. Okay. Fine. You should have knowledge of these diseases. Fine. We'll see the answer. So it's an option 3, typhoid. Typhoid fever, it is basically a fever. It is a disease that is caused by bacteria Salmonella typhi. It is caused by bacteria Salmonella typhi. Most people will get typhoid fever by eating or drinking food or water that has been contaminated by the people with the disease, including by those who do not have any symptoms. Yes, it is not only a deceased person will contaminate the water, but at the same time, the undeceased person, if they dirt the water, there are chances of getting a typhoid. Person to person spread also can occur. So it can also be transferred through a person to person. Which of the following is a waterborne disease? Yeah, this is very common waterborne disease. Diabetes, is it cholera or smallpox and malaria? Yes, very familiar with this. Diabetes, cholera, smallpox or malaria? Yeah, Hafsa, I got second option, cholera. Okay. Yeah, Tulasi also, option 2. Chandrika, option 2. Yes. Okay. We'll see the answer. Yes, it is cholera. Obviously, option 2, cholera. Cholera is an infection in the small intestine caused by the bacterium Vibrio cholera. It is caused by bacteria, basically, Vibrio cholera. Transmission occurs primarily by drinking water or eating food that has been contaminated by feces of an infected person, including one with the no apparent symptoms. Even with the no apparent symptoms, if he contaminates the water, there are chances of spreading the cholera disease. The DPT vaccine is given to young babies to protect them from. Yeah, we heard about DPT, right? Vaccine is given to young babies to protect them from which of these following? Is it diphtheria, polio, and tetanus? Or diphtheria, pneumonia, and tuberculosis? Or diphtheria, smallpox, and tetanus? Or diphtheria, whooping cough, and tetanus? I got from Sri Raksha, that is option 2, option A, first one. Okay. Option 1, okay, from Chandrika. Yeah, from Hafsa, we got option 4, diphtheria, whooping cough, and tetanus. Okay, let us see the answer. It is diphtheria, whooping cough, and tetanus. So, what is DPT? DPT refers to a class of combination vaccines against three infections. Basically, it is for three infections. That is In humans, that is diphtheria, pertussis, and tetanus. The vaccine components include diphtheria and tetanus toxics and killed whole cells of organisms that cause the pertussis. So, what is vaccine actually? It is actually the killed organisms which has been given to the young ones so that the disease will not come in a future, right? So, DPT vaccine is basically given to prevent them from diphtheria, whooping cough, and the tetanus. So, let us move for a conclusion part. So, what all you learned in this chapter? You learned that is appreciate different dimensions of health and role of proper nutrition and physical exercise. We also learned about healthy habits, some of the healthy habits in maintaining health, and explain the different positive and negative influences on health, and emphasized the importance of hygiene, personal community health, and recognize their interrelationship. We also express awareness about the national immunization program and how it prevents certain communicable diseases. So, these were some of the concepts we learned in a health and hygiene. Let us learn still more in the next part. So, any doubts you have or queries you have in this chapter, please welcome. Please visit edurapid.com website and practice the most of the questions which has been in the website. Go through the videos. Okay, thank you all.